This story dives deep into the messy, dark corners of what happens when trust shatters. Imagine a guy, let's call him Mark, sitting on a park swing early one morning. The sun's not quite up, and he's watching a spider spin its web. This spider's really going at it, making this intricate trap on the bottom of a kid's slide. Mark's thinking about how focused the spider is, how it only needs this one web to work. He then drifts to his own life, how things could get done if people just stopped with the pointless paperwork and got to the core of things. His thoughts are interrupted by the idea of the first kid who'll zoom down that slide and wreck the spider's masterpiece. It makes him think about his own plan, something he's brewing that feels just as risky. He's talking to the spider in his head, Monday being the start of this thing. He hopes it all works out so something big will finally happen. Mark's full name is Mark Fisher. He married Sarah right after they finished college at the University of Michigan. They got jobs in the suburbs outside Detroit. Their story before this was pretty normal college sweethearts who dated other people but found their way back to each other. Mark admits he's insecure, and this makes him jealous. He can be a real jerk to Sarah, criticizing how she looks or acts when they're out. He knows it's not right, they've talked about actions and consequences, but he still does it. Despite this, Sarah married him. They both love shooting. They've taken all sorts of pistol courses and have concealed carry permits. Sarah's a better shot, even winning awards. They live in a decent area, but there are a few spots where Mark feels better knowing Sarah's armed. They still go to a lot of sports games, something Mark enjoyed in high school but didn't pursue in college. Then comes a Thursday that changes everything. Mark's at work when his colleague, Gary, slams his fist on his desk, complaining about traffic. Gary's looking at a traffic cam and sees a bad accident. Mark goes over to look, and his stomach clenches. He sees paramedics around a woman with a bandage on her head. He's almost sure it's Sarah because of a very specific tattoo on her arm. He remembers her saying her flight to Chicago was yesterday. Then he recognizes the overturned truck. He can't place it, but it feels familiar. Gary saves the video and sends it to Mark. Zooming in, Mark's almost certain it's Sarah. This contradicts the phone call he got from her the night before, the one about a smooth flight, nice hotel, good meetings, and a late flight home. Mark feels like a fool played. He can't figure out why he recognizes that truck. He runs through everyone he knows, but no match. The blue and yellow stripes on the truck stick in his mind. He remembers Sarah's call around 7 p.m. She'd left a message saying her cab to the airport got into an accident. She was okay, just a cut on her forehead, and missed her flight. She'd call later. Mark's heart races. He feels completely betrayed. He can't eat, the emotions are too strong. Realizing his marriage might be a lie, he wants revenge on Sarah and whoever she's with. He searches the house, not even knowing what he's looking for, just fueled by anger. Nothing stands out. Next, he goes through their credit card statements. Sarah travels a lot for work, so he figures there might be a clue in her spending. He finds something odd. Every other month, on one of her trips, there are no credit card charges except for airport parking. She uses her business card for everything else and submits expense reports. He's supposed to believe she paid cash or didn't eat on those trips. Not after seeing her in that crash. He knows she was having a 2-day affair disguised as a business trip. He needs to know with whom. He decides to get the traffic accident report. Sarah keeps her important papers in a filing cabinet. He wonders if her expense reports are there. She's very organized, so it only takes him a few minutes to find the right folder and confirm that those trips with no credit card use weren't on her reports. He wants to get drunk but knows better. How long it's been going on doesn't really matter. It's a cold betrayal. His revenge will match her deceit. In the divorce, he'll be fair. She'll get her 50% from the prenup. Yeah, right. Sleep comes slowly. Coffee takes forever to kick in the next morning. He sees a message from Sarah saying she'll be home later. He goes to work without replying. He spends his lunch break getting the police report. There it is, Sarah listed as the injured passenger in the pickup truck. The owner's name, Ray Strong, doesn't ring a bell. He's still baffled how he thought he recognized that truck. At least he has an address for her lover, just 3 blocks away. A quick online search shows Ray owns the house with a Jill Strong. Mark guesses that's his wife. Other online info shows Ray and Jill went to the same high school as Sarah. When Sarah calls as he's leaving work, he answers, not wanting her to suspect anything. She asks if everything's okay, saying she's been trying to call. He plays it cool, mentioning his phone was off. She talks about her trip and the cab accident. She suggests dinner. He agrees, somewhere light. He takes the long way to the restaurant, driving past the Strong's house. The truck isn't there, but he sees the University of Michigan flag. Clicks. That's the truck they see at tailgates for Michigan football games. They always park in the same area as the Strongs. He just assumed they were friendly to everyone. At dinner, he tries to act normal, but Sarah can tell something's wrong. He brushes it off as work stress. When Sarah starts her makeup routine before bed, he pretends to be asleep. She gets into bed naked and tries to snuggle, but he stays unresponsive. She gives up. The next morning, he searches her car and finds a hidden cell phone. Turning it on and reading the texts confirms everything. Sarah and Ray have been having an affair for months. One text in particular sends him over the edge. He thinks about revenge but can't imagine being physically violent. He needs a plan. He decides against talking to a lawyer yet, wanting to appear blindsided when she confesses. He buys what he needs and avoids Sarah all weekend, faking intimacy when she tries. Monday morning, he goes to the park, needing to be sure about his plan. That text message solidifies it. From Sarah's side, she thought she had things under control until that strange phone call on Monday morning. Private number. A man's quiet, annoying voice saying he knows about her and Ray and wants in. He hangs up before she can reply. Her mind races. She feels exposed. She's on edge all day and that evening. During their usual bedtime tea, Mark seems concerned, asking if she's okay. She blames work stress. She asks if he knows anything to keep her busy. She decides she won't be blackmailed and will wait to see what happens. She has nightmares about Mark finding out and decides to stop seeing Ray. Then another call. The same voice. Ready to come please me? She says no and hangs up. Another call right after. He knows details about her night, her pajamas, sleeping position, lack of underwear, and says he has a picture. She gasps and hangs up, then races to the bathroom to throw up. After work, she finds a small envelope under her windshield wiper. Inside is the picture. He was in her bedroom. She feels violated. That night, she busies herself with bills, trying to figure out how he got in. Is he a friend or enemy of Ray? She doesn't recognize the voice. She asks Mark if they can put a latch on the outside doors, saying she's heard about break-ins. He puts it on his honey-do list. She doesn't sleep well, every creak startling her. The next morning, another call. The voice again. He comments on her pajamas, says no body shot for him, and asks if she's ready to be his love woman. She demands to know who he is and what he wants. He suggests restraints at her place or his. She threatens him, but he hangs up. She takes an extended lunch break. A mess. Who can she turn to? She's kept the affair secret. Now there's a stalker too. She and Mark were intimate again recently, and she wonders if he knows something. He's not acting like it, but they haven't really made love in a long time. She's been so focused on Ray, she's neglected her marriage. Lack of sleep is taking its toll. She tells Mark she feels sick and will sleep in the guest bedroom so he doesn't catch it. He agrees to move instead, saying he likes the firmer bed. She mentions having nightmares and wanting to keep her gun with her. He tells her to make noise before coming into the bedroom and jokes about her being trigger-happy. He agrees to put a lock handle on their bedroom door. She wonders if Mark knows something, especially with his sleep tight instead of love you. After Mark goes to the guest room, she pushes a chair against her bedroom door, puts trinkets on the windowsill, and slides her gun under Mark's pillow, hoping to be alerted if the stalker comes. Another call. The voice says he dropped by, saw the trinkets, and took a few while Mark was in the other room. He suggests drugging Mark so they can have fun, and mentions her headboard for handcuffs before hanging up. She races home at lunch. 3 trinkets are missing. She throws up. What has she gotten herself into? If she goes to the police, Mark will find out about the affair. But she can't be the stalker's plaything. She cancels her evening with Ray, telling him they need to cool things off. His texts show he's not happy. She doesn't know if the stalker found her through Ray. She's terrified and confused. Should she just give in? Where does it end? Maybe she should tell Mark and ask for help. Her poor work performance is noticed, and she gets an embarrassing pep talk. She cries for an hour before Mark comes home, then cleans up and puts on makeup for dinner. After stringing bells on the window and door, she feels a little safer. Friday morning, she tries to work, but then the call comes. The voice says the bells were a nice touch, but she slept through him emptying her handgun and putting the bullets on the windowsill. He asks if she's ready now. She needs Mark, she can't do this alone. But if she tells him, she might end up alone anyway. The weekend can't come soon enough, at least he won't be able to bother her at work. But what if he plans something for the weekend? She hasn't been in the mood for intimacy, and Mark seems fine with avoiding her. She has a trip scheduled for Wednesday and doesn't know whether to go. When is this guy coming for her? Is he crazy enough to follow her on the road? Saturday morning, Mark is still asleep after she finishes showering. He never sleeps late. She shakes him awake. He looks confused and says he's really out of it. She asks if he's okay, rubbing his neck. He flinches, saying he has a sore spot. She sees a bite mark. She gets him a bandage. The morning continues with normal chores. Mark goes out for juice around lunchtime. Her cell rings, private number. It's her mother, who always hides her number. She answers. It's the stalker's voice. He says he tried a tranquilizer dart on Mark last night, and since he's still alive, they're good to go. He says he'll bring lube. She hangs up, shaking and nauseous. She sprays air freshener to cover the smell of her vomit. She has to tell Mark, but she can't. She's so confused. Why did she ever do this? All this drama for some meaningless sex. Ray wasn't even that great in high school. What was she thinking? Sunday is no better. Every time her phone rings, her anxiety spikes. It's him again. Mark is in the backyard. He says, "Time's up, Sarah. Next time you're alone, you are mine." The line goes dead. She's sweating and shaking. Sooner or later, she'll be alone in the house. She can't take this much longer. The day drags. She dreads the night. Just before bedtime, Mark says he has to go back to the office for about 90 minutes. She begs him not to go, but he leaves. She locks all the doors and windows, including the bedroom door with the bells. She sits on her bed with the lights on, gun under her pillow, checking the magazine. Her heart pounds when she hears a floorboard creak. Panic takes over. She aims the gun at the door and window. When the bell on the door jingles, she fires, again and again. The door swings open, and a body in black slumps down. She's trembling and realizes she's wet herself. Her hands shake so badly she can barely use her phone. She calls 911, saying she shot someone in her house and has a gun pointed at the body. She gives her address. 5 minutes later, the police arrive, then the ambulance and paramedics. Within half an hour, the place is swarming. She wants Mark, needs him. Where is he? The paramedics work on the man. He's lost a lot of blood but is alive. From Mark's perspective, he tells Sarah he's going to the office. In the garage, he puts on latex gloves and finds Sarah's burner phone in her car. He copies the text that enraged him from months ago and sends it to Ray, the time almost exactly the same as before. He puts the phone back. He drives down the street and waits until only her bedroom light is on. He walks back, unlocks the front door, slips away, and goes to his office. There are security cameras and he needs his access card to get in. He turns on his computer but just sits, wondering if his plan will work. After devising his plan, he bought a burner phone and a voice disguise app. He could sense Sarah's panic that first night. Every night, he'd put a sedative in her tea. Once she was out, he'd position her to take a picture of her body and print it. The panic in her voice on day 2 was exactly what he wanted. Every night, she was unconscious, so he could make noise without her stirring. On Friday night, around 3 a.m., he used a safety pin to prick his neck. When he saw blood, he flushed the pin and took 3 sleeping pills. He was out quickly. He thought about the old text he'd resent. He just left for the office. Get over here for some love. You don't have much time. He figured his time to go home would be about an hour from now, or when the police called. An hour meant failure. A police call meant success. His cell rings. It's the local police. Sergeant Willis. There's been a shooting at his house. Sarah is unharmed but shaken. Can he come home? He says he's on his way. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? He arrives home to flashing lights. He gets past the officers. Sarah runs to him, sobbing. Detective Sampson sits down with them. He identifies the intruder as Ray Strong. Sarah acts shocked and distraught. Mark plays the supportive husband. Then, an officer whispers to the detective, who then tells Sarah she's being taken in for questioning and has her cuffed. Mark asks what's going on. The detective says they found Ray's cell phone, and it looks like Sarah invited him over. Mark acts furious, calling Sarah a cheater and leaving. He smirks as he watches them lead her away, ignoring her pleas for help. He knows it's just a matter of time before they find her burner phone and the incriminating text. He makes sure the house is locked up and spends the night in a motel. The next morning, he goes to the park, seeing his spider friend trying again. He thinks, don't stop believing, buddy. Even the most outrageous plans have a chance. Sarah uses her one call to involve her parents. The police get a warrant and find her burner phone with the history of calls and texts with Ray's burner. It looks bad for her. Mark's first call is to a divorce lawyer. Finances are documented. Sarah will get her 50%, but he won't pay her legal fees for attempted murder. He takes his half of their joint accounts. The divorce proceeds quickly before Ray can take any legal action. Once the police tape is gone, Mark packs up Sarah's things and drops them at her parents' house. He hires cleaners. His lawyer goes with him to the only police questioning he attends. Sarah tries to convince them he set her up, saying she didn't send that last text. When asked about cell tower data, the police say it matches Mark's story and their assumption that she's a criminal. Apparently, Annie Oakley cracked under pressure. Only 2 of the 5 bullets hit Ray. One destroyed a kidney, the other took a chunk out of his ear. Mark thinks he can live with that, though he'd hoped for more from all their pistol training. He watches from the gallery as Sarah pleads her case. She was being stalked. Didn't tell anyone because of the affair, and her husband must have framed her. The press learns she was offered a plea bargain. Her overconfidence seems to have backfired. Guilty. 20 years. Mark doesn't wait for the divorce to be final before starting to date again. Finding support groups for humiliated husbands. Sarah's assets are quickly depleted fighting her sentence. Mark isn't liable for her debts, and no lawsuit from Ray materializes. A moral victory is enough for Mark. He acknowledges he still needs to work on his jealousy issues. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.